to address us on what we'd already adopted, where it was joining into the New Zealand Local Government Funding Agency, where all the local bodies and other bodies were joining together and creating a pool that would be cheaper and more efficient for local bodies to borrow from. Mr. Ward? Neil?
Thank you, We'll take the item as read. As you alluded to, we have taken this agenda item to back in August, I believe it was, the August Council meeting. Part of the resolution was a reporting back clause once we'd signed the documents on the final terms. So this is what this paper is about. All the documentation has now been signed. The New Zealand Local Government Funding Agency is up and running as of the 7th of this month, and the target date for the first issuance is 15th of February. If there's any questions in the item, we've listed out the significant terms and then given you also a little bit more reading on the item. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
It's really just a report for your information, and it's to be received. Final details of the what do you call it that we entered into, the agreement that we've entered into. Any questions for Councillor Williams?
So Neil, are you happy with the way that we have been accredited as far as our financial rating goes by this body?
Yeah, this body in it.
Fair, I should say.
Yeah, but basically how that worked is the rating agency, Standard & Poor's, and actually I'm not sure whether I mentioned that in the item, but both Standard & Poor's and Fitch Rating Agency have given a AA plus rating to the New Zealand Local Government Funding Agency. That is the same rating as the New Zealand Government. So basically what that means is that they have the best opportunity, or have a very good opportunity to raise funds at a cheap level. Now, what happens in terms of the issuance from the NZLGFA to local authorities is there is a margin difference there between whether you're a rated council or an unrated council. Currently, this council is unrated, so we will pay a slight premium over a rated council, but that is yet to be seen from the first issuance. But
we don't know.
We don't find it. Yeah, no, you won't see.
I hadn't read it.
Yeah, 15th of February we'll be able to tell you. The whole point of this is for that is to be lower than the market. But the reality is until you go out and do your first issuance in the market, then that's when the rubber meets the road, as it were. Now we're very fortunate to have Phil Coombs, who's the chief executive of the new agency. Phil was the man that ran the debt management office for New Zealand, so he's very well known in the markets and has a very good reputation for getting issues done. So we're very fortunate to attract him to that position.
Anything further from anybody?
I just want to say some addendums through the chair. So all the non-rated local governments all have the same rating, will they, or will it be case by case depending on
that's up to
financial health?
Yeah, there will be a bit of a case by case basis, and that's up to the chief executive, who is Phil, to assess the risk on the councils and price the stuff accordingly. And also, I guess.
Wouldn't it also be a timing issue? Like if a council wanted to borrow $50 million tomorrow, it will count on how much they can borrow it for to be able to pass it on for. If somebody wants to borrow it in a year's time, it'll be a case by case because
absolutely, it depends on the issuance in the market at the time as to what the market
price is. It's a timing issue. Unless those two councils went on the same day, then it's got to be case by case, doesn't it?
Correct. Yeah, market pricing changes minute by minute.
Percentage points. Anything further? Okay, as I said, this is really just to be received, as what the resolution says. So if we could have a move, Councillor Williams. Seconder, Councillor Cooper. All in favour? Aye. Moving now to agenda item number 13. Welcome Mr Goldsbury. I think you've been with us long enough now that we all know Mr Goldsbury, but Mr Goldsbury, this matter is probably, and I can assure you everyone would have read your agenda, it is pretty much a mechanical issue. We have had these people come to us on this one, and the last triennium was a breakdown of a relationship and not wanting to pass the house on, wanting to get the proceeds and put them into a fresh start.
Yep.
Does councillors want to question Mr. Goldsby on this or hear anything more about the item? Councillor Mincher?
I just couldn't understand why they just don't re-let the house. I was a bit confused following this through.
Through you, Your Worship, my understanding is that Habitat for Humanity find that their model is that, of course, the people have some sweat equity in the house that they build, and they therefore are committed to the process. And they found in the past that if somebody falls by the wayside and they try and get somebody else, and there's not that same commitment to the property that there is with somebody who's been there right from the start. So they prefer, if somebody does fall by the wayside, they prefer to get the money back out, put it into a new project where some other people will get the buy-in.
Well, they actually addressed that in Chapter 3 of their letter, 13/3.
I did read it. I just,
in their experience, they told me when they came to it that re-tenanting the home with a view to future ownership is not viable. It's never worked for them in the past. They've tried that. They normally have a fresh start package when they do these deals. But as I understand it, there's nothing at risk here for this councillor who's only acting on behalf of the stakeholders of the district. The equity in that is banked, so to speak, and transferred to the new property, and we get legal title or mortgage or something over the new property. Yeah.
If councillors, if you have a look at the conditions on 13.6, which is an encumbrance registered on the title protecting the council's interest. Essentially, they can either transfer the property to the people who they built the house for, or put it into another property. We will get this exact same thing registered on whatever new property they buy.
In the meantime, how are we protected? In the meantime, the money is in the bank under joint signatures or something.
Their obligation is to hold the money. We have an undertaking from them. What we will do is have an undertaking from their lawyers that the money will only get dispersed out of the trust account to buy the next project.
And at that time it gets dispersed, we get the encumbrance of the new
registered on the new property.
Councillor Downer?
Is there a time frame? Obviously there must be people that want to be part of that and build, put their sweat into their own home. Have they got a waiting list? Or
my understanding is that they've got a project or two projects in our district lined up. They couldn't give us an exact time frame because obviously it depends. They need to bring those projects together, but they anticipate that these projects will happen next year, 2012.
Anything further? Well, Mr. Goldsby, you as our council lawyer, if you're comfortable with the guarantees that you've got as to protecting the stakeholders' asset, i.e. the cash, then I see no reason not to move this.
I'm happy, Your Worship. Obviously, if somebody was fraudulent, you can't protect against somebody being absolutely fraudulent. But this is a reputable organisation. They've been around for a long time, and we're getting undertakings from their lawyers. So we'd need them to be fraudulent and their lawyer to be fraudulent to cause us any risk.
That's not what happened in Queensland, though, is it? Okay. Councillor Downer?
Yeah, I'll move because I'm happy to see a new family start a new adventure with Habitat New Zealand.
By one of our sections in Victoria Street and stuff. Okay, we've got a mover. Second it, Councillor Johnson. All those in favour? Move. Thank you.